Over the past 3 years, I have helped scale over 617 agencies, and today I'm going to share with you my brutally honest advice on what I would have done differently and what I would do now if I had to restart heading into 2025. Now, quick clarification, I personally have not scaled over 617 agencies. That would be impossible in the span of just 3 years. That'd be a flat out liar. I have scaled 3 of my own to 10, 21, and 49K a month, and I've helped over 617 others who have partnered with and coached, consulted to start and scale their agencies. Today, I'm going to share with you everything I wish I'd known when I first started and what I would do differently heading into 2025 as the world of business has shaped up a bit differently. And there's a lot of different new tactics and a lot of new ways people are doing business. And some of the old marketing methods that I used to know when I started my first agency aren't as applicable anymore. And the way we build offers and all these other things is something we'll dive into. Don't quite work as well as they used to, which is why if right now you're struggling in any way, shape, or form, this video is aimed to help you solve that, because I'm going to share with you some of the things I wish I'd known that I know now that I didn't in the past. Anyways, we digress. So here's the first thing I want you to understand, and the first thing I wish I had understood when I started business, and that is that the point of business isn't to win, it's to be the last man standing. That is the point of business. And this is from Hormozy, who was on a call with a couple days ago. And if we take that perspective of the point of business isn't to win, it's to be the last man standing, because if you're the last man standing, you win by default, because everybody will buy your thing because you're the only one, right? And if we even think of this in like the tech world, like look at Apple. Like they just won because they were the last one standing, right? Obviously, yes, there's still Samsung, but I mean, you can look at the revenue, right? And compare those two companies and see that Samsung is diverting into lots of other things as well, while Apple has stayed clearly focused on its main mission, right? And so the point is not to win, it's to outlast everybody, which is pretty easy because everybody gives up because business is hard as it is. But I want to make this very clear, because in order for us to understand what I would do differently and how we're going to scale an agency, we have to understand the context and the perspective that I'm coming from now, right? And so that's the very first thing. And so if our goal is to be the last man standing, well, what would you do differently now if your goal was just to outlast everybody? Well, the first thing I would do is I would try and have an overwhelming amount of experience and proof. Therefore, because I'll tell you a really cool thing. The best form of marketing is marketing that your customers can do for you. Like there's no better form of marketing in terms of return, in terms of trust, in terms of anything than marketing done by your customers for you out of their own will, okay? And the best way to do that is by building a great product. And the best way to build a great product is to have hundreds of users use something to give you feedback on so you can make it better. And doing that exact thing over a long enough time horizon to the point where the thing becomes incredibly good because you've had so much data and so many rounds to test it. Okay? Now, we're speaking pretty high level, and this is pretty generic and broad advice. But the first thing that I would I'll bring you through my process if I had to restart what I would do. The first thing I would do is I wouldn't overthink my niche or my offer. I would ask myself, and this thing I'll share with you, the easiest way to make money is to sell something people already sell and just do it quicker, better, faster, more convenient, or more successful, okay? And so what I would do is I would just look at what are other people already selling that people buy a lot of, right? And the cool thing is you can literally just research like big marketing companies or big tech companies and just like see what people are doing, whether you want to look at it on a smaller scale or a bigger scale. Like I researched some of the top marketing firms, marketing agencies, and I found out David Ogilvy, he has an agency called Ogilvy Advertising, I believe is what it's called. And I think they're ranked number 3 or 4, and they do about like $2.8 billion a year in revenue. That's a lot of money for a company that just markets. And so that shows us that people will pay for marketing. Well, obviously, because people always need to get new customers. And so I know that people will pay for marketing. Great. We've settled that debate. Awesome. So that's the first thing I'll do is I would find something. Now, it doesn't have to be marketing, but in this case, we'll talk about marketing because that's what a lot of people do, right? So cool. I'm going to sell marketing because people already buy that. Now it comes to the question of the niche. Well, the niche doesn't actually matter, okay? Because no niche is actually good. And why do I say that? Well, that's because every niche that you can think of is, well, rather say, let's put it this way. No niche is good, no niche is bad. They're just niches. And the reason why I say that is because every niche comes with its own pros and cons. And every niche is viable, and you can make $1 million in every niche, because if you couldn't make $1 million in every niche, it wouldn't exist in the first place. If you could name a niche, you can make $1 million in it. Because if you couldn't, you wouldn't be able to name the niche because it wouldn't exist in the first place. And so, like, I know this is kind of broad, but like the point is that people get so hung up on like, oh my God, I have to pick the perfect niche. You don't. I can guarantee you'll probably switch niches like involuntarily or voluntarily multiple times throughout your career, especially if you do this on a long enough time horizon, that like your first pick doesn't have to be your best pick, right? But the thing is, you have to make a pick to get started. And so I wouldn't get too hung up on the niche. I would see what kind of advantage I have, which will bring me to my next point, right? But I would see, where do I have advantages? Which brings me to my next point, which is that in the beginning, as an entrepreneur, you have to use what you have at your disposal to your advantage. It's as simple as that. Now, here's the thing. I can already hear people bitching, complaining in the comments. Oh, but Stefan, I'm a 14-year-old kid from India and I don't... Shut up. Listen. First off, even if, like, okay, and if that's true, so what? But it puts me at a disadvantage. Okay, and? So I can't win. Okay, and? Then lose. Well, I don't want to lose. I want to win. Okay, cool. So even if you are at a disadvantage, it doesn't matter. But here's the cool thing. Everybody has advantages. Oh, Stefan, I have no clients and I'm really young. That's an advantage, right? When you're on a sales call, it's like, hey, man, listen, here's the deal. I haven't been running this company for the last 50 years, okay? And so if you want to go with another company who's worked with thousands of clients, okay, and who when you join, you get assigned an account representative that maybe sends you an email once a month, okay, and maybe you get some half-decent results, but you don't really know what the fuck is going on, then go with them by all means. But if you want to work with somebody who was fucking born in the womb on social media, I know social media better than anyone else. And so for advertising on social media, I know that platform better than anyone else because I grew up with it. I know how the platform operates. And if you want to work with someone who is harder working than you because these results mean more to me than they do to you, then I'm your guy. And then once again, we just got to use what we have to our advantage. And most people play such a victim mindset. They don't understand everything they have at their disposal when they have so much at their disposal. There are so many things that you can utilize to make more money, right? And you can use to amplify on your sales, your stories, your marketing, etc., right? Like everybody has something going for them, right? Even if you're young, that is something going for you. If you're disciplined, that is a characteristic, that's a character trait that is advantageous to you and to share with your prospects. But if you're ripped as fuck, despite the fact that doesn't correlate to anything in the business world, people associate that with discipline. And so they associate you and your character of somebody of high value because they can see that you're disciplined with your body. It's these small little things, right? And so the point is you have to use what you have to your advantage. Maybe you have a cousin or an uncle or a friend or a family member or whatever who's in a certain niche. Hit them up. See if you can get a deal. Maybe you have a buddy or maybe you know somebody locally in town. See if you can get in with them. Use the connections and the things you already have at your disposal to your advantage. I see most people do this so wrong. They try and go out there and start from scratch. And by all means, go ahead. But I like to give myself the best chance at winning as possible. And if that means I can utilize the things I already have to be more likely to win, I will do that. And I recommend you do the same. Don't make it more difficult than it already is. Business is already hard. Don't try and make it more difficult on yourself. And so use what you have to your advantage. If you have a certain skill set, right, or you have a certain connection or certain whatever, use that. Look around and leverage the things you already have. Leverage your SOI, which stands for sphere of influence. Leverage your connections, your network, your family, your friends, right? Leverage your pre-existing skills. Right? Leverage some of your classmates maybe. See, everybody has something that they can use to aid them when starting a business, right? And whether this is direct connections, or capital, or whether this is your story or your work ethic or whatever it is, use what you have to your advantage relentlessly, right? Because here's the cool thing. Everybody uses what they have to their advantage. The big marketing companies don't talk about how they can't give you any time. They just talk about, hey man, we're the best for a reason because look at us. We've served thousands of clients. That's why we're the best. They use that to their advantage. And rightfully so, you can use the contrary of that to your advantage. Hey man, we're not the biggest, but that means we'll actually spend a lot of time with you, yada, yada, yada. So the point is you got to use what you have to your advantage. Okay? Now, then I want to make something very clear. Offer. Offer is one of these very tricky things that people want to get right the first time. They want to have a perfect offer, and rightfully so, you should have a good offer. You should make your clients a good offer, right? But fundamentally, we can't make a good offer until we know what people want, and we don't know what people want until we speak with them, which means in order for us to make a good offer, we have to speak with more people, which is why in the beginning, my preference for making a good offer is go search up an idea of what you kind of want to do and then call up 100 people and validate the idea and also ask for feedback and recommendations on other things that they would like. And then once you have enough data that suggests that you have an overwhelming issue that you could solve, then go sell the idea of solving this issue to those people and then go build the thing afterwards. Which brings me to my next point. Sell before you build. You wanna, trust me. Back in, I think it was November of 2023, I partnered with a new guy, started a new business, and we had this great idea. We're gonna build out a 10-year customized AI nurturing sequence for realtors to follow up with all their leads. And it's gonna be amazing and phenomenal, right? I spent like 3 months in level building this entire thing out. And we finally were ready to launch our MVR, minimal viable MVP, minimal viable product. And I went and hopped on a few sales calls. And the first 3 people we hopped on a call with all told us, "Hey man, cool, but we already have this. And you guys selling this for $5K, we pay $20 for this, and it already comes with our software and everything else we need." I then proceeded to delete the go level accounts, and from that moment forward, I never, ever built anything again for any agency until I sold somebody on the idea first. Because if I can sell somebody on the idea, then I know that they want it, and then I'll spend the time building it. And the cool thing is then you can build it alongside your client, which, here's the cool thing. You don't build a great product by sitting in a room by yourself and sitting here coding and building. You build a great product by getting users to interact with it and give you feedback, which is why the best products are built with people using it. That's why your best product, right, and offer will be built when you get clients through the door. And so that's why the goal at the beginning is to get as many clients through the door as possible, which brings me to my next point. You want to remove all the friction possible, all of the friction that is humanly possible to sign your first couple of clients, because here's the cool thing. Those clients giving you experience, giving you case studies, testimonials, giving you confidence, conviction, etc., is literally worth more than any amount of money they could have paid you in the first place. And so remove your ego, because once again, the point of business is to outlast everyone, not to win, right? Because when you outlast, you win anyways. And so what we want to do is we just want to get an overwhelming amount of proof of concept, because here's the cool thing. And heading into 2025, I think the biggest, like for those that do it right, they'll win. For those that don't do it right, they'll lose. It's going to be trust. People aren't going to believe anymore, right? There's so many good offers out there nowadays. Like making an offer isn't hard anymore. It's getting people to believe the offer you made. And the cool thing is people will pay more money for a quote unquote worse offer that they're more likely to believe works, right? I mean, heck, we do this all the time when we shop on Amazon or other sites. We look at what has the most ratings, and we will pay more money for something that has more ratings than another one, because we then believe that product will be better, right? I'll give you another example. Imagine if you are going to a restaurant, and there's 2 restaurants, restaurant A and B. Restaurant A is incredible, sometimes it has amazing food, but only about 50% of the time. It's really hit or miss. Either it's incredibly great or it's absolutely terrible, food poisoning, like just disgusting, and makes you never want to go back. And so it's like a 50-50 throw up in the air. You don't really know. Could be the best food you've ever had, could be the worst food you've ever had in your life too. And then there's option number B, which isn't necessarily the absolute best food in the world, but it never misses. It always hits the spot. It's good, it's solid, it's just solid. Okay, there's nothing overly exceptional about it. They're not super fancy, not crazy. They're just solid and hit spot every single time. Even if option B cost a bit more money, which restaurant would you rather go to? I would argue option B, the restaurant B. And that's simply because you are more likely to pay for something that will work, aka you are more likely to pay more for the thing that you truly want. And like if you just want a good meal, like you don't want to risk it, right? This is also like, I mean, we could talk about so many other examples of this, but like I think you get the point. And so the person with the most proof, even if they have a worse promise, wins in the end. This is why some of these huge marketing agencies, despite the fact that they have, in my opinion, terrible offers, right, for the market, they're like, hey, we'll just help you advertise, which is not a good offer for context, right? They still make a lot of money because they just have really good proof. As a matter of fact, more proof than anyone else in the market, and that's why they got there in the first place. And therefore, they don't even have to be good at what they do in terms of the marketing sense or the sales side. People will just buy because they have an overwhelming amount of belief that they will do a good job because of their pre-existing repertoire. Okay, and so the thing is, we want to optimize everything in the beginning for something Hormozi calls create flow, monetize flow, add friction, which is a little sequence I like, which is that when you start a new business, you want to create flow, then monetize the flow, then add the friction. So the point is, you want to create flow first. Okay, so you want to get leads in the door, right? You want to get leads, you want to get appointments, you want to get clients in the door. You want to create flow first to just know how to create flow with the most minimal amount of friction possible. Then once you start to create flow, you want to start to monetize this. And so you're going to add in a monetizing thing at the very end. So let's say you've signed your first 5 clients. Okay, work for them for free. And then perhaps for the next 5, pitch them, a bit of money, right? Tell them it costs a bit of money. And for your pre-existing clients, after the trial period is over, upsell them on your new offer that you sold everyone else on. Okay. And so that's the first two phases: create the flow, then monetize the flow. And the third phase is going to be adding the friction, which is when we're going to drastically increase our prices, right? Or where we're going to add qualifying things, or where we're going to filter out different people and not work with certain niches. But once again, at the beginning, we just want to create the flow and monetize the flow. Because here's the thing: if you don't have clients, you don't have money coming in the door, you don't have a business in the first place. And so I would rather have, 10 clients, one in 10 different niches, so 10 different niches, 10 clients, then have one client in one niche. Because even though these 10 clients are in 10 different niches and that's unscalable and that's not what you're going to do in the future, the whole point is in the beginning, you're not going to scale what you have in the beginning, because in the beginning you have nothing, and anything multiplied by 0 is 0, which is why in the beginning we should never be focusing on leverage or scale, because as a matter of fact, normally to get your first couple of clients, you do the unscalable. Even the founder of Pinterest, I forget his name, but when he first founded or started Pinterest, and he made the MVP, the minimal viable product, he went out to coffee shops and started to talk with people and just get them to use Pinterest. He would go up to them hey man, I use Pinterest. And he would go talk to them in coffee shops all the time. He would even go into Apple stores, and before he'd get kicked out because they started to recognize him, he would pull up Pinterest on all the iPads and all the phones and stuff, so people would default look at the tab they were on. They would see this app Pinterest. They're like, oh, this seems kind of cool, and they'd remember it and go on it back home. And that's what he first did. Now here's the thing: that's not scalable. And if he had operated the mindset of, oh, I'm only going to do something that's scalable, he would have never made any money. And so in the beginning, we have to do the unscalable work to get to the point where we have the money to then take on scale, which is why in the beginning, you shouldn't be so concerned oh, is this client qualified, or is this person in my niche? That doesn't matter. What matters is that we start bringing the people in the door. That's what matters. Okay? Because I'll tell you something really, really cool. This is some sauce right here. In business, there will always be problems. And in business, you are constantly and always solving problems. That's quite literally what you do as a business owner, and what will always happen in business. It's oh, great, you don't have any leads, you get leads. Okay, cool, but now you have too many leads. How do you convert them? Okay, cool, now you got to convert them. Okay, cool. Now you converted them into appointments, but now you got to close them. Oh shit, now you got to close them. Okay, now you figure out how to close them, but shoot, now you got to onboard them, and shoot, now you onboard them, and now you don't know how to service them. There's always going to be problems, always. Okay, and so the thing is, you just have to ask yourself, what problem is the most important to solve now? And so here's the thing: a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, I don't know what my offer is going to be, I don't know what my delivery is going to be, and I get that, I understand the rationale behind being oh, I need to figure out my delivery, my offer before I talk to people. But it's just not true. Because here's the thing. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather have, this isn't even possible because you can't make a good offer or a good product without having clients. But let me ask you this. Would you rather have a phenomenal product that you made by yourself that technically we don't know if it's phenomenal, but let's just say it's phenomenal. A phenomenal product with a phenomenal offer, but 0 clients and 0 money in the bank. Okay. Or, I don't fucking know what my offer is. I don't really know how to deliver, but you have 10 clients that all paid you 10 grand each. So 100K in the bank. Which problem would you rather have? The problem of not having any clients but having a great product, okay? Or having 10 clients who all paid you 10K who you now got to figure out how to do the delivery for? What problem would you rather have? I know what I'd rather have. I'd rather have the problem of 10 clients not knowing how to deliver, but I got 100K in my bank. It's a worst case scenario. You use that 100K as leverage to perhaps pay somebody else to help you service them. Now, in the beginning, you should service them yourself so you can learn what to look for. But the point is, you just got to choose what problem you'd rather have. Because in business, you're always going to have a problem. And so you just get to choose what problem you'd rather deal with. And in the beginning, there's multiple problems. There just so happens to be one that's more important than all of them. And that's getting clients. Because once again, well, cool. A business doesn't exist if it doesn't make money. You fundamentally can't have a business if it doesn't make money. That's just not how it works. And so most of you say you have businesses, but you actually don't because you don't make any money. And so therefore, to have a business, you have to make money. Therefore, we need to sign clients. In order to sign clients, in at least the agency space, we typically have to hop on sales calls. And if we have to hop on sales calls, how do we book more sales calls? Well, we have to do outreach of some way, shape, or form we have to market, to let more people know about our stuff. That's simple. Therefore, our biggest priority should be how can we let more people know about our idea of something we want to build. And once you get people in, then you get the gist. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. There's a lot more things I want to cover. I want to circle back and give you a bit of a high level of what we've kind of covered, and then just share my thought process on okay, if I were going to start literally today, what would I actually do first? Because I've talked a bit about it, right? Which is the offer, the niche, etc. But where would I go after that? So I guess to make it visual, granted, this isn't a an end all be all. If it isn't this way, you lost, you die. But if it were me, I would just pick a niche of something I have interest in or have pre-existing advantages in or have some sort of connections in, etc. Right? I'd use my sphere of influence to try and find something I can have an in with. Okay. What I would then do is I would reach out to as many of those people as I humanly can, tell them my story, and tell them my goal of what I want to do. Right? And so, like, tell them my story of how I got in the space, why I'm helping these people, what I'm trying to do, and be like, hey, man, I'm just trying to help you get a bunch more customers. Truth be told, I may not know exactly what the fuck I'm doing just yet, but that's the coolest part, is I will literally put everything on the line more than anyone else would because I'm trying to figure this out more than anyone else. Yada, 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 boom, 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 okay? And I would just let everybody know about what I'm trying to do and a bit about my story. And based off of that, I would try and sign a few clients on a free trial basis to do this for them, okay, to execute my idea for them, okay? Or granted, if you don't show competency and confidence in yourself, you will not close to anybody. So pre-existing, character traits have those sort of feelings about yourself. Anyways, we digress. After I sign a couple of people, I would sign a minimum of 5 to do this initial trial period for. I would still book appointments on the side, but I would just move my allocation of time more towards the clients to try and figure out what the fuck's going on. I will then continue to service these clients and while continuing to book more appointments. And once I start to get a better hang of what I'm doing, I'm going to start to go back on booking more appointments. Now, here's the thing, is I'm going to optimize my time to make sure I can handle both. And then when I feel like I have a pretty solid understanding of what I'm doing and what my offer is going to be, what my product is going to be, I'm then going to pitch all my free trial clients on upselling into a paid thing to continue doing what I'm doing for them, but perhaps with a guarantee and yada, 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 on a paid basis. And then anyone, like, I'm going to try and collect some testimonials with them, and then I'm going to see what kind of results I got. Once I get good results, I'm then going to take it to the market, use that case study, and start selling people paid. Okay, and I'm just going to gradually increase the price every time I close a client, or every 5 or 10 clients, I'll increase the price. Okay, and then whenever you feel that you are fully capped out truly, I would hire someone to delegate the task that I hate the most. And so by delegating the tasks you hate the most, you free up your time for doing the thing you like the most. And it just happens to be that you will work harder and better and more efficient and more effective at the thing you like to do than the thing you don't like to do, which is why you should just hire for the thing you don't like. Like, once again, use what you have to your advantage. If you like sales, like, you will probably become really good because you will try and actively get better. And so don't hire a salesperson just because some fucking guy told you to. Okay, that's stupid, righty? And then that's exactly what I would do. And doing that exact thing we just talked about with yourself and 1 or 2 other team members can easily get you up to $20K a month. Now, granted, like, if you're charging $500, that's not going to happen, right? So we have to sell a bit of a higher ticket thing, which is like, now we're getting more advanced, like how to actually build offers. You're going to have definitive end date offers, which is where you don't sell services, you sell outcomes, and therefore you can charge a lot more when you sell an outcome and solve a specific problem than just saying you're going to do something for them. But this is like 201 marketing. This is like advanced stuff, which we're not going to talk about because this is just like some beginner advice, or like not beginner, but some more broad generic stuff and like kind of what I would do differently. And so that fundamentally like wraps up a lot of the things that I would have done differently. I wouldn't have sat there and made websites and logos and domains and all that stuff. I would just understand that the number one priority in business is to, at least in the beginning, is to make more money, to sign more clients, because I felt that you don't even have a business. And so I would allocate all my time to do exactly that. Okay? And then the cool thing is like, once you do that, you have a real business. I think you feel really, really good about yourself, which makes you really excited. It makes you do a lot more work. And like, once you make money and then you get a domain, you feel even cooler because now like people know your domain because you have clients and like whoopity-doo. Okay? So yeah, that is, I think, what I would kind of do if I had to restart. And I would put a huge emphasis into building trust with my prospects and selling my story in the beginning. I think like those 2 things fundamentally would be like one of the most important things to do. Sorry, I was thirsty. But especially heading into 2025, like the most important thing is going to be trust with your prospects, building trust with your prospects. And there's a variety of ways which you could do that. You could just have good social proof, but in the beginning you don't have that. And therefore telling your story is really, really good. Giving value first is really, really good. Using damaging admissions, being open and honest with your intentions are also really, really good. But the point is like, trust in these kind of things isn't something you can just like snap your fingers and have. It's something you have to progressively build. And I think that a lot of people, here's the thing, the biggest takeaway. I think a lot of people try and shortcut business and cheat it, and like they want the prize, but they don't want to pay the price. And a lot of people don't understand that the reason why a lot of people got really good at business is because they spent a really, really long time making no money, learning the skills required to get really, really good at business. and then they cashed in. And what happens is they just tell the part where they cashed in. They forget to tell the 10 years that they spent working for free, making no money, because it doesn't sound as sexy, right? And so I think a couple things I remind myself all the time is that good things take time. Good things come to those that wait. Experience is worth more than money ever will be. And just be patient with your outputs and impatient with your inputs, I think is just like some good, solid, short advice. And the last one be like, you know what you need to do. You just need to do it regardless of how you feel on a long enough time horizon. Just see the results without convincing yourself you're smarter than you are because you got bored doing it. I think those things, you can take those little quotes and just remind yourself of them daily. And one more, which is that you will always feel chaotic and like you don't know what the fuck is going on, but that's normal. Everybody feels that way. It never goes away. You just get better at realizing when it's happening and just understanding that that just means that you're growing and you just got to push through. And if you can take those little quotes and just apply them to your day-to-day life, I think you'll have a lot of success. So yeah, if I were to start an agency in 2025 or even just now, those are some of the key things I would do differently. And I hope that that can perhaps help you out when you're starting your agency, right? Or whatever kind of venture you're into. So yeah, if you like me and you want to talk to me, I don't have any team. It's just me. I run my own business, just me. I have no setters. If you message me on school, I will personally reply back to you. If you ask me a good question, I respond to looms with almost anybody. So you can get a free loom audit from me, okay? No opt-in, none of that bullshit. You can join it. Links down below. You can get access to a bunch of free courses and all my SOPs and a bunch of fun stuff as well. No opt-in. You don't fucking have to do it. I don't care. I just offer it out there for the people that do want to join it and do like me enough to click that button. You can go ahead and do that. That being said, I'm going to go to bed because it is almost 11 here. And I don't know about you, but I kind of like sleep a little bit. And so I say I'm going to go to bed, but that's a fucking lie. If anyone's even watching this, shout out to you. But what am I most realistically going to do? The first thing I'm going to do is take this hoodie off and turn the AC on because it's so hot in here. Then I'm probably going to drink a bit more water. Then I might go brush my teeth, put my retainer in. Probably clean up a little bit. I'm a neat freak. Like I love to make sure everything is clean. Probably just quickly check over my calendar, prepare the day for tomorrow, take a look at what's on the calendar, and then make sure if there's any last things I have to add in there, add that into the calendar to make sure I'm prepared for tomorrow. And then probably hit the hay. So there you go. There's an inside look into my life. Anyways, I should probably shut up. Otherwise, my watch time is going to go down because people don't want to listen to me ramble. Maybe you do. Maybe that's why you're 27 minutes in, because you like to listen to me ramble and rant. If that's the case, let me know, and I will gladly sit here and rant for hours on end. But until somebody validates my thoughts, I won't do that. Save you some time. Anyways, catch you in the next one. Peace.